Hello everyone, GL1 here, and welcome to my very ambitious effort to go over all my Marvel female action figures in the 5 and 6 inch scale. So there are over 60 of them. Difficult to count them when they're all jumbled up like this. But I will do my best to go through them, and I did try to categorize them as best I could into various categories, and I also made some modifications to some, and I will go over those as well. So I'm going to start we'll start right here. All right, so we're going to start here with Moria McTaggart, and now I put a gun in her hand. She didn't have a gun. She comes with several accessories. I did not include all of the accessories with all of the figures, but just the ones I thought that were important. And what I thought was important with her is the alternate head, which comes with these glasses, which I think are really neat because they actually have lenses that you can look through, and they are removable, so you can lose them. So I put the other head on that does not have the glasses, and that one goes into storage so I don't lose it. She is not a mutant. Well, she wasn't thought to be a mutant, but later she thought has some kind of mutant powers where she can reincarnate herself and have perfect memory, so she keeps coming back with more and more knowledge. All right, so this one here is Emma Frost, and I changed the head between this is the Kate Bishop Hawkeye, and I changed the heads because I thought that the blonde head looks better on this figure, and I thought the other head looks better on the other. So this is Emma Frost. She's psychic, and she has reached a level of like being a super mutant. So that's something that the X-Men and everything have to keep an eye on. And like so many, she has some kind of psychic powers, but they always have more than just that. So anyway, this is the body of her, and maybe you'll agree that this head looks better. I don't know, if you read the comics, then probably that bothers you a lot. I don't read them. I haven't read them in years. So what happened is they raised the price to comics so much that I was like, well, I really just care about the characters. And I'm like, well, it almost costs as much for an action figure than a comic. And the action figure I can play with all the time. And the comics, you can't. You open them, you read them, that's it. And then you have to even be super careful with turning the pages so you don't rip them or crinkle them or anything. And then the value goes down. So I just thought, these are too expensive, and I'm really not getting a lot of fun out of it. So, all right, so here is the Kate Bishop Hawkeye figure with the Emma Frost head. All right, and I knew, what? I was worried that I'm going to knock everything over like dominoes. Well, then I'll just go right here. Now, this is an older Psylocke figure on the 5-inch scale. So these are from the 90's, figures like this. All right. And then I have a Diamond Select Psylocke figure. And as it turns out, Psylocke's powers, not only just with the sword, but have grown exponentially. Her psychic powers to where she is what's called an Omega level mutant, which I assume that means she could possibly destroy the world with her power, but she's good. So there she is, Diamond Select. And there are other even higher end versions of Psylocke. They're pretty much the same, though. They're a little bit better, but I mean, this has a good torso joint. You don't have, oh yeah, you do. You can turn the biceps. Yeah, okay, that's hidden really well. And you got a wrist that can move around. And it does have the thigh joint, and again, it's hidden in the bands so that you can turn the leg like that, and then you can right in the middle of the shin, and then you have The foot joint moves in all directions, and she has a pretty cool sword. I'll pull that out, and you can see the details on the hilt and the handle of the sword, samurai sword. All right. And this is, Diamond Select Marvel, but then I have a Toy Biz one. Again, this is from the 90s, or no, probably early 2000s. And, just getting all these together and standing them up and looking up all their names took so long. I wasn't going to also look up all the individual years on all of them. But you can see this is Psylocke again, and it has the good torso joint, Again, early 2000s, probably 2003 or 2006. Double elbows, double knees, full hip flexion, turns up in the hip there. There's a joint up in there. Okay. And then the long hair there. All right. And the samurai sword that I put a little band so she doesn't lose it. All right. And try to do the mutants as much as possible. Okay, this is Black Widow. She's not a mutant. All right, so this is Marvel's Magic. And she came with a bunch of accessories, but I just put her out with just her big, gigantic sword. She has like a little dragon, and then there's like a red skull that she goes into some red skull mode. I don't know much about her. And then she has like lightning bolts, but you know what? Just cool outfit, all spiky and everything. She's one of the smallest figures, even though she is on the 6-inch scale, but she's probably like, based on being 5 feet tall. But she's known to be very powerful character. One of the actually, one of the most powerful female characters in this in the X-Men, and she's a mutant. All right. And then behind her, I knocked over Jean Grey, the Phoenix, and possibly the most powerful mutant of all. Charles Xavier would try to keep her under power. Because her psychic powers are uncontrollable, and she could destroy the planet. So he tried to control this. This is a newer version of Jean Grey, and I can show you the old version. This is, if you haven't seen this new one and you're just familiar with the old one, this is, back in the 90s, this is the Jean Grey with the Phoenix power, her hair all turning orange. But this is the outfit that we were used to seeing her in. So let's see what this says. Yeah, 1995. So the figures back then, they usually didn't have any lateral motion in the shoulders. This one does have elbows. They didn't have any wrist turning. Just the knees bent, and the hips didn't move laterally either, just back and forth. But, back then the technology for toys, that's what it was. People didn't expect a whole lot. They could do more. There were figures that had more articulation, but, something like this probably cost like $4 back then. So now, you get the double knees and the double, not always the double elbows, like this one does not, but it does have the elbow joint that rolls. And the first time I saw that joint was on Dragon Ball Z figures. It probably existed before that, but that was the first time I saw it on the 2000s Dragon Ball Z figures. And I have not shown you any of my Dragon Ball Z collection, and I will, because I have a lot. I'm just waiting to find the right way to do that. So, all right, so there's Jean Grey. All right, and then some famous mutant here. We have Mystique, and this is another Toy Biz Mystique. This is early 2000s, and again, you have great articulation. You have the double knees, and she's skinnier here. Very lithe figure. She has a gun, and she has a gigantic machine gun, it looks like, with a sight on it. Very serious looking and kind of scary looking face. But that's, a lot of times the way that the artist would draw her in the comic. And then there's Monster Armor version of Mystique. And then, this armor comes off. And I know I got this in some kind of like, Goodwill or something like that. This is 90's, and it was cheap, super cheap, but kind of cool. I just thought it looked neat. And then we have the more recent Mystique. Like this, right? And I don't know if this is the Jennifer Lawrence or the, I don't think it is. I think it is Rebecca Romaine Mystique. But, she's got the torso joint up in there. And I know you can, there's an accessory like where you can take the arm off. And then I have this head, this Mystique head, and it doesn't go to this. And I don't know where this head goes to, but here it is. So just thought that would be cool. All right, so she's a mutant. And then, let me see. I'm going to go to the awesome Spiral figure. Okay, so this one I got recently too. I had to order that one. Didn't want to miss out on it. Because what I really liked about this is it has all these arms, and all the arms are double elbows, just excellent articulation. The hips, the muscularity of the thighs. I just thought she was really, really great. Much better than the 1990's version, which I do have displayed in my in another episode where I was showing you all of the Thing character figures that I have, and I also showed you Spiral as well with that 90's version, which doesn't have all this articulation. So this one's just great. And this is leg-wise the most muscular legs other than a Hulk. And maybe they are more muscular, actually. They're more defined so I would say these are the most defined and possibly, equal to the Hulk in muscularity legs of any of the Marvel figures. All right, so the next one is not a mutant, it's Jocasta, and she was, she's a robot, and she was meant to be a bride for Ultron, who's a bad guy, but she ended up turning good and working with Joe Fixit, which was the Gray Hulk, and also became part of the Avengers. Now, I took off, let's see, it's like dominoes. All right, so I took the Jocasta head off. This is the Jocasta body. And my Thor figure, okay, the new female Thor. So this is the Jane Foster head, okay, and so the Thor, I'll show you my other Thor female, Jane Foster Thor figure, but I thought, I have this extra head for Jane Foster, and I don't really know much about Jocasta or care, so I thought it'd be cool to change the head and, put that on there. And one of the things that inspired me to do this episode is I was looking at the body types of these figures and looking to see whether they just, sometimes just change the head, change the torso, change the legs, and just kind of stamped out, one size or 5 sizes fits all. And in some ways they did do that, and then in other ways they really didn't. There's actually quite a bit of uniqueness, like I was saying with Spiral. So I can tell you that, getting off track here, But this figure here is not a mutant. She gets her power. This is Moonstone. She gets her power from a Moonstone, and she's just like super powerful. Okay, so this is a cool figure that I got recently. And I didn't know anything about it. I just liked the way she looked. And I'm like, oh, I want to have that figure in my collection because she's really muscular. And I thought that was cool. She has the most muscular arms of any of the female Marvel figures. And her face, I think, is really well detailed. I mean, it really does look like somebody you might know that has this makeup on. But her lower body is the same. And what I thought was cool about this is that it's the same lower body, torso and lower body, but you can see that stamped into the plastic are these other accoutrements. So they took the mold and then they actually added, plastic to it, but it is the same torso and lower body. Now, you can see that the upper torso is not the same, and you can see that the arms, look at the detail in the tricep on Moonstone. So definitely not the same. So that is really what got me thinking, I'd like to do an episode where I can, I was looking at it myself, and I'm like, well, I should do an episode on this and talk about what kinds of things that I've observed. All right, so she goes into the box. All right, so Omega. Okay, so Omega Sentinel is another robot character that is part of the X-Men world, and I think she was bad and then she turned good, or she was good and then turned bad. I think that's what it is. And she came with a different head that you can put on, and so she's, like I said, she's a robot, but she's part of the mutant world, so I put her in there. All right, so then we're going to go to the Rogue figures. All right, and we can start with the 1990s Rogue. All right, 1990s Rogue. And I always like Rogue in the comics. Now, she has the power when she touches you, she can take your power away from you. But this is supposed to go down and stay, and then you push a button, and then she punches. But she also ended up getting the power of flight and strength from Captain Marvel. Or Miss Marvel. I think Captain Marvel is what she goes by. But, here you can see that 1990s articulation. Not a whole lot, no ankles, no lateral shoulders, but pretty good. And you can't turn the head either. All right. And then within the past couple of years, they came out with like Young Rogue. And I went and I ordered Young Rogue. And here she is. And I thought, well, this is, the face is really good. It really is what I remember from the comic book, what she looked like. So this is Young Rogue. And this is what, I guess she was wearing in the early days of the X-Men. All right. And actually, this lower body is similar to, I believe, Monique St. Croix, which is a new figure that just came out. And so you can see in the body proportions and the legs are the same. Now the calves, obviously not, but you can see they took the torso and lower body of Monique St. Croix, not to be mistaken with Jamaica St. Croix from the Son of the Beach comedic show. But the upper torso is not the same. Okay, so we'll be getting back to Monique St. Croix later. But, all right, so this is Young Rogue. You can see she has a hint of a six-pack there. And this is Adult Rogue. And again, this is another one that I remember, the comics as, different artists. And you can see that the torso is different, and the legs are different. Well, let's see, maybe not that different. Let's take a look. No, okay, yeah. So the lower body's definitely different. Um, the mold is definitely different there. But, so they didn't, they could have just changed the head, right? And used the same body, but they didn't because different artists would draw these characters and they made, you can even tell that the face is slightly different. So, yeah, you can see all that. So that's Rogue. All right, let's see. I think we are, well, no, we have Domino. So this is the comic book Domino. Now, I'm not real familiar with the Domino character other than seeing her in the Deadpool movies. So, but this is the comic book Domino, I can only assume, because, it doesn't look like what she looked like in the Deadpool movies. But, all right, so very thin young lady. How that is made out there. Torso joint, pretty good. All right. A lot of the female figures do not have the double elbows, and I don't know if it's difficult to do that small or less reliable, but then it's difficult to say that because then you have Spiral with 6 arms and they're all double elbows. All right, so here is the Deadpool actress, okay, that was in, Domino. Okay, so she has 2 double machine guns, and she came with an extra head, but the facial expression is so subtle. It's just not even. I can barely tell the difference, so it doesn't really matter. So all right, so her mutant power is luck, and she has really good luck. And conversely, you have the Black Cat, whose mutant power, well, actually, it's not really a mutant power. She was given this power by the Kingpin, and her power is to cause bad luck. So this is an older figure. This is early 2000s, and they came out with a Black Cat recently, but it wasn't as good, so I didn't buy it. I'm just like, no, you know what? This is just a better figure. So you have a good torso joint and legs, and you can twist here. And you have the double knees and the ankle that moves all around and little flexible fingers. So I just thought, this is such a good figure. And what's interesting about this is not a new figure, but the way that the body is made and put together is a lot like the Jocasta body. So, it actually, other than the muscularity in the legs, they made the Jocasta legs a little bit more muscular. But I think for the most part, it's a very similar mold. You can see the back proportions and the hips, and just lower body in general is very similar. So it's, sometimes, look, when they draw these characters, there is but so many ways they draw them. So, all right. And then another character is Tigra. And she was given, keeping with the theme of cats, she was given her powers, the power of the tiger. And, I forgot how she got the powers. But she melded with the power of a tiger. So she has tiger type of reflexes and strength. And there she is looking very angry. All right. And let's see. We'll move over here and we have a mess, but we have the Black Widow. All right. So I have a couple Black Widows. And this may not be the original head that came with this figure. I may have changed the head because I just sometimes, I just like the way different things look. So it could have been this head. So I really don't remember at this point. But who cares, right? It's still the same person. So, all right. And I think it looks a lot like her, actually. Not just the face, but her body proportions. Very much like her. And I may have lost the other piece that goes in there. I know I glued that one in. But that's sometimes the thing, is they have all these little pieces and you can lose them. This one, the guns came pre-glued. And so, yeah, she looks very angry or tired or like, what's your problem? Kind of similar face to this one, right? Like angry, tired, or what's your problem? This one, she's kind of smiling. She's like, hey, I got these sticks. You want me to hit you over the head with them? So, all right, that is her. And then moving over here, we're going to space. So this is Nebula. And this is the sister or stepsister of Gamora. And this figure's worth like $80. So glad I got it. I probably got it on clearance too. So, all right. So it has some articulation. I guess it's kind of rare. So $80 is it's pretty steep for this, to get this again. But it looks just like the actress. I mean, it's good mold. And then we have, this is Diamond Select version of Gamora. Very different than what we're used to. And I went and I looked this up in the Google search, and there's a video game version of her with long hair. That would be cool. All right, so she came with a bunch of accessories, but these are the ones that I gave her. So she's on a 7-inch scale, really. This is 6-inch scale Gamora. And this one really, I think, looks like the actress. I mean, even just the eyes, the way they glisten, and the lips, but just the facial proportions, it really looks like the actress playing Gamora. Zoe Saldana. You can remember all these things till when you're doing a show. And here's the little 5-inch version of that. And, not bad. But get back to this 1990 articulation, just no knees, little elbows, no shoulders, but you have what I call the Dragon Ball Z joint for the elbow. And yeah, you can turn the head a little bit. The hair gets in the way, but. And then also with Guardians of the Galaxy, we have Mantis, and this was part of the Build-A-Figure. So you had to get like all the characters from Guardians of the Galaxy, and each one came with a piece. And I was lucky to find that. I found that in a clothing store, and all of them were from like $22 down to $6. So I got all those so I could get the Mantis, because at that time, that was the only way you could get the Mantis figure. So she has all the articulation. All right, let's see. And let's move over to... Oh, actually, and I did want to tell you that Moonstone figure came with some extra hands. And it's not the extra hands that I wanted to show you. It's the fact that everything is wrapped up like a LOL doll now. So, you get these cardboard boxes. So the figures, and I think they're going to maybe change back to having a plastic front. They're trying to avoid having as much plastic. But the problem is it does look pretty much, like what you see here, but people really like to see the figure, and I think they were saying that the sales have dropped since doing this, because you feel like, well, what am I really getting here, But you open it up, and it's all cardboard, and then you get inside a little package, little hands, just like LOL dolls. All right, let's see. So, I'm going to get back to... over here, and this is Dark Star. She's a mutant, and she has a dark energy. That's her power. And so she looks really angry, doesn't she? She looks like she's about to do something really powerful. All right. So, and her lower torso is, again, it's the Monique St. Croix. Legs are thinner, though, you see? Now the legs are thinner. But the lower body torso and lower back, you can tell that's the same. The arms are different. You see, Monique St. Croix has the double elbow, which is good because this is expensive. This is a $25 figure. I was lucky that GameStop has that. You join, you get $5 off every month. And the upper torso is not the same. And in fact, no other figure has the upper torso of Monique St. Croix. It is unique to her. So maybe in the future, being that this is a new figure, new molds might be made with this. But right now she's the only one. All right. And I'm going to swivel over here to mutants again. So for a mutant, we have Storm, right? And this I got duped into buying because it was inexpensive in a comic book store. And I go, this is from the movies, from the X-Men movies. And I'm like, it really, let's see what this is like. Well, it's really not an action figure. It's more of a mobile statue. I mean, that you can move the arms a little bit, only within a certain range. Like this one can do this and move inward, and this one just goes up and down. And then the legs, the knees bend, but the hips don't really go much, can't really move. And then she just swivels in the waist, and she hooks onto this here in the back, and then it goes up and down. And when it goes up, this lights up weakly, but it lights up. It's a weak set of lights. And unfortunately, it just turns itself on all the time, and the batteries died. So very annoying. And I was very annoyed that I bought this, but it was $10, and I'm like, all right, fine. But what is a cool Storm figure is definitely this newer one, and you can also get this in white. So this is just a great Storm. Really looks like her, when she's going to use her powers. Very expressive on where you turn her head, you get some expression. And doesn't have the double elbow joints, but the double knees. And I put her in, this is a McFarlane stand, DC stand, but, have her off the ground. And I have another Storm figure that I've had since like the mid-90s. And here she is. This is Storm in the Savage Land with Kazar. And Kazar is a savage guy, and he would ride a saber-toothed tiger. But that was just his thing. Now, being that she was new to the Savage Land, it's just like a limited edition comic book series. I don't remember the storyline, but she got herself a robotic Triceratops, which has a feature. You pull the tail, and the head moves a little bit, like he's, biting and ramming something. So she would ride on top of that. All right, so I think it's certainly better than the one that I got, the movie one. All right, so I think that is it for mutants. We have Katie from Shang-Chi, and she's a human, but she's an excellent archer. And it came with like a long dress, and it came with bow and arrows. I didn't like the long dress. I thought it was very restrictive on the action figure and moving her, so I cut it off with a knife. And she's got the double knees and good movement in her legs. And I just thought I liked it better like this. So that's what happened here. All right. And another figure is Shuri. And Shuri is from the Black Panther story line. So then she's got these like technology, energy shocking kind of weapons. Torso joint. Okay. And I'm going to move over here to the Invisible Woman. Now this is a recent Invisible Woman that you may have seen on my episode, like somewhere around like episode 105, where she went to Dinosaur Planet and kept wanting to touch the dinosaurs and was chased by them. But this is that figure. And there she goes. All right, so a newer version of her. And then this is the Jessica Alba Fantastic Four figure. You can see it doesn't have all the articulation. The knees bend. But I haven't opened this because it just didn't seem worth it. But let's see, I got that for $8 at KB Toys. And it comes with water blasting action. And it's been a while since I saw that movie. I can't remember when this thing came out. But whenever the first Fantastic Four movie came out, this came out, and she came out all invisible. And what impresses me about this is usually this clear plastic gets really yellow after this many years. Now you could see it's starting to yellow, but it's not too bad. And this has the double elbows and the double knees. Also, this kind of plastic often cracks, but this is not the same plastic that this stuff usually is made with. It's a little bit chewy, so it's a little bit softer, so it's going to last longer. And she really has good articulation. You can see she's got the torso joint and the hip joint, so just a lot of movement on this figure. And it comes with a whirlwind, and it would shoot like these clear discs, and it would be like a clear whirlwind, but that did break. So I just, it's salvageable, but I just didn't bother to bring that up. All right, Spider-Woman. So this is the Diamond Select Spider-Woman. And I think it would have been better if you could take these off, give her a little bit more articulation. It's a nice looking figure, but it doesn't have a lot of articulation, which for Diamond Select kind of stinks. But, it's a very true to the comic book version of her. And then later, they came out with Spider-Woman like this. So more of a, like a younger lady, looks like, more like maybe a college student version. I don't read the comics, so I don't know. And these sunglasses, they also come off. I think I put a little dab of glue on there so I won't lose them. But that's Spider-Woman. And then back here, I put basically gods. So this is Valkyrie, okay, and one of the Norse godlike characters. And this came with a 2-pack of her and a Hulk. And what's interesting is this is a very human-esque looking figure. I mean, it's the features and everything are drawn, are made after a drawing, but they, it's looks like a human being. The Hulk that came with it is very, has a lot of sharp lines on it, and it's kind of robotic in how it looks. I always thought that was weird. The 2-pack is worth at least $100. It's worth quite a bit of money. So, and I got it. It was like in Toys R Us one night, and it was like clearance, and I'm like, let's get that. So that's Valkyrie. And then for the movies, this is Valkyrie, the Thor movies. So then they made her like this. So you can see it's even a bigger figure. This is, even though they're both based on 6 inches, this is just a taller person. And certainly a lot more detailed. I mean, you have the sword that comes out here, like a blue flaming sword. And she has this other sword here. And knife there. Daggers, a couple of daggers. So, all right, so that's the Valkyrie. And then this is Sif. And same quality figure. And this is one of these, I think it's Sif, is from the 10-year anniversary set. So, all right, so again from the Thor movies. And then Jane Foster Thor, got the power of Thor, having a pure heart and intention. So you could see you could just trade the head if you want to put the other head on. But I thought, with all the silver, it looks good on the Jocasta body. So, all right. And then Loki, because of Loki is a god, he can be female or male or make himself into anything he wants. So this is female Loki. And I thought this was great. I don't really like Loki. He was great in the movies, the actor and the scenes and everything. But I like this figure. So I thought she was really neat looking. So cool looking figure. Twisting up her fingers like, kind of looks like Snoop Dogg, right? Twisting those up. All right. And then we have Ajak, which is a celestial human. She kind of works with the gods, but she's not actually a god. And that's played by Salma Hayek. And you could see, this is Salma Hayek, the actress. And that looks like her. And the action figure, not enough, right? It's okay, but it's not great. So a little bit disappointing there. But they have the Angelina Jolie figure that played Thera, the goddess of war, and also known as Minerva. And that looks more like Angelina Jolie than the other figure looks like Salma Hayek. So, but good articulation in there. She comes with some other weapons, but these are the cool ones, I thought. So, gave her those. And then, I guess I'm done with Monique St. Croix. I never heard of her. So when I was reading about her, basically, she's practically Superman. She can almost do everything. She's just an incredibly powerful character. So kind of missed the radar on that one. But I like powerful characters, and I'm glad that they made this figure. And this is Witchblade. And this is a early 2000s Toy Biz figure. And super skinny, but it's got the same joint as the Invisible Woman. You got the torso joint and then the joint that twists there. So very similar there. Toy Biz made both of those. And interesting is that this is Witchblade, but this figure did not come with a sword. What it did come with is, this was a Build-A-Figure series. You'd buy like 4 figures and you'd make something. I think it made Pit. I think it came with a piece of this character called Pit, which is a big, gigantic. It's like this big. Well, you can't see my hands. It's like a figure that's like this big, okay? And Pit is just something. And what's great about back in the day when you got Marvel figures for Build-A-Figure, you'd only have to buy like 4 or 5 of them, and you'd make a really big figure like Galactus or Pit. And now you have to buy like 8 of them, and you make a character that's like just slightly bigger than what you'd buy altogether. It's very annoying. All right, so this is, and we've seen this in my Iron Man show that I did, I don't know, a couple months ago. All right, so this is the female Ironheart, and there goes She-Hulk. Okay, so Ironheart. And this came with some, you could, if you watch that episode, you can see she comes with a solid head, like a, armored head. And she comes with like different hands that can shoot the repulsor rays. Okay. But I like her just like this all the time anyway. I think it's a really cool figure. I love the articulation. She can just really bend and just look so realistic, like how a person, like even like a dancer can just bend and articulate herself. And then we're going to get to the She-Hulks here real quick. All right, so there's this She-Hulk figure, newer figure within the past like 3 years. So they came out with this one, and everybody was not real happy with that it was this darker gray and that it looked angry all the time. So you had to wait, but they eventually came out with this. I mean, you had to wait because it was like, pre-order and everything. People wanted it really bad. It's the same body. You can see it's the same body, light green, obviously, and it came with both heads. It came with the angry head and then the calm head. And the calm head is reminiscent of this Toy Biz version. Okay, actually Marvel Legends version. So it's big. It's like an 8-inch scale. Well, she's tall, so you could say maybe it's 6-inch scale, but because she's tall. So, but you could see the muscularity is very different, but both very muscular. And the arms are a bit different. I mean, this has the bicep joint. This one doesn't. But you have the shoulder striations, which are pretty cool. But people really like this figure. And so that's why they made it with the head that's very similar. And then they came out with, well, this is the 1990s She-Hulk. So you have that 90s articulation, which is not a lot. But see, they give you shoulders that move all around, but no elbows. But she came with like a weapon that you put in front of her and it like shoots something. And so she just kind of puts her arms in there and just holds onto it and shoots. So that's your 1990s She-Hulk. And then this is the She-Hulk from the television series on Disney Plus. This is I wasn't going to get this at first, but then, I watched the series and I'm like, you know what? I really like it. So look at the double elbows. It's a little, it looks good straight. It's a little messy when it bends, a little bit too much joint showing, I think. I think maybe they could have done a better job on that. But, all right, there's She-Hulk. And, they have an actress on there that plays She-Hulk, and she really is that tall. It's a really tall woman that plays that. And here we go. This is a Comic-Con exclusive She-Hulk. How I lucked into getting this. So you can take her outfit off, and she's Fantastic Four She-Hulk because she joined the Fantastic Four for a while. When the Thing was out, she was taking his role. You can change her hands. You can change her feet. She puts on like white sneakers. But because I have all the other She-Hulks, I just keep her in her lawyer business suit. And then we have the Red Hulk. All right. So the female Hulk. All right. And I haven't read the comic on that, but I thought that was a really cool looking figure. Want to open it, but this is about $100 now. So yeah, 2000. I wish they made this. They were working together. I really wish they made that figure, but they did not. So, all right. So here we are. All of this. Oh no! You know what? I missed Captain Marvel. Here she is, Captain Marvel. So here she is in her powered down mode. But does it really matter? She's super powerful, right? And then you can change her head. And then she comes with her powered up mode. And then you can change that head too. So she is ready for fighting. All right. Now, the whole reason all of this came to be is because of this figure that again, this is one of those things where I wasn't going to get this because I really liked this Ironheart, but then this was $11.99 instead of $30. So I'm like, okay, let's check it out. So we're going to check it out. All right. So I've resisted opening this up for a week. I wanted to open it here. I mean, I just kind of like briefly opened it and put it, I didn't open everything. So again, like the LOL dolls, everything's all wrapped up. And then you open it up. And ooh, ah, right? You get your accessories there. And then another, open this, and everything's heavy. This is a very dense plastic that she's made out of. It's kind of odd how heavy everything feels. Oh, something fell in there. All right, so I don't know. These are some other like energy beam. Oh, okay. So these are like jets that you can attach to her. Much like the House of M Iron Man, where he has these big jets off the back of him. And I know that in my episode on 6-inch Iron Man, I showed you the House of M Iron Man that I have. And here we go. Let's see what's in this bag. Oh, yeah, these are the little spiral things. So after she fires, I guess or before, there's like these spirals that go against the repulsor ray. And then, all right, there's her armored head. And so we get these other hands. Okay. And I guess we can attach, oh, yeah, I figured there's something else in this bag. I think the other, yeah, I was going to say, it needs to have two, because then you can put both of these, right, like her repulsor blast. And then, what really matters is the figure, which is very heavy. It's really weird. It's very heavy for the size. Very dense plastic. And there she is. So, I can compare the two. She's much larger in this suit. I wonder if you can change the heads, exchange them. So, because you can put this armored head on, right? So it looks like that. Let's see if you can do this. Let's see, the balls look, yep, the same size. There you go. I mean, the only thing is the neck is a little bit off, right, with that head. Not quite right. And then I assume this hooks in here. I'm not one to read instructions. All right, so she goes like that. And then I bet you can take these repulsor beams, yep, and put them in the feet. So like she's blasting off. And then you can swap one of these arms out with this one. I haven't seen the movie yet. I imagine this is a very powerful Iron Man Wakanda combination weapon. That's what it looks like. So, all right. So this is our modified, right, with the different head, Iron Heart. And then if we want, we can put this armored head on. There. All right. You know what? I'm going to go get the other Iron Heart head and we'll compare that. Okay. So here's the other Iron Heart head. So we could take that off. And then that goes on there. Oh, that looks right. That looks good. But then we could take this head off. All right. Put this one on. Okay, and then she looks like that, and then that comes off there. All right. So she looks pretty cool, armored up. Both armored up. All right, so very cool figure. Going to put her on one of those McFarlane DC stands, so she's off the ground. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that very in-depth episode of my collection of female Marvel heroines. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.